Welcome back to the Comic Book Theater. Jay here, and I'm with Jesse and Justin, and we're going to be talking Trek. So, Jesse, you want to
Yes.
introduce yourself, your site, your social media, whatever you want to say?
Yes, I'm Jesse, JLS Comics here on YouTube. Do a lot of comic, movie, film related content, sci-fi. I love Trek, so happy to be here talking all about this. Also write for a website, comicbooked.com. I think Justin will talk about that as well. Pretty excited to throw up some new content as well when we get to these new shows that we're going to be talking about tonight. But thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Always great to have you guys. And Justin.
Yeah, like Jesse said, great to be here. I'm Justin. My channel is Exhaust State Comics. It's mainly comics. That's what I mainly talk about. Oh yeah, but a little bit of magic
You
thrown
want to
in.
talk about Exile?
Which one? The Last Exile. Now that's a great anime if you want to go down that road. But yeah, and as Jesse said, comicbook.com, everything, news and stuff, just like our good buddies here at Comic Frontline. Always great articles going up, so your mind can never get, completely saturated or overly saturated with news from comics and pop culture, as it were. So, good fun stuff. Glad to be here to talk about Star Trek.
Yeah, we got a busy 2 weeks for Star Trek because we had San Diego Comic Con, which was 2 weeks ago, and then we had Star Trek Las Vegas, which was just this past weekend. What did you guys think about, both of them, like as a whole? What did you think about the experience this last 2 weeks? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go. I thought it was awesome, especially with San Diego Comic Con. There were so many cool freaking announcements and reveals and like cameos and stuff. A lot of like really awesome like fan service type of stuff. I really feel like with the stuff that we've gotten recently, we're like really getting back to the heart of what I love about this franchise. So I'm really excited for it. Some things more than others. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a minute. But overall, in terms of everything that's come out between San Diego and Vegas, definitely has me excited as a fan to have seen so much in what couple short weeks here. So
yeah, it was same way. That so much information came out, and then it was like you thought they announced everything, and then you hear about other potential guest spots and cameos, or maybe somebody's doing writing on something over here. Like it's just like the news hasn't really stopped. So it's as a Star Trek fan, it's everything you can ask for.
We have a comment from Bernie Exter. So welcome, Bernie Exter. He says, Picard had a good trailer, but Alex Kurtzman is the creator. He's not the head runner though. He's just like the if you want to put it in Federation terms, he's the fleet captain. And then I forget the guy's name now, who's the head runner. He's the Pulitzer Prize writer. But he's the head writer on Picard. He's the showrunner. So Kurtzman's not the showrunner. He's just like the fleet captain. He's just like in charge of all Star Trek right now. So like he's just overseeing everything. He's got his hands in everything, but he's not, individually running anything.
Michael Chabon.
Yeah, Chabon. Yeah, that's right. He's the one who's he's the head writer and the showrunner for Picard. So Alex Kurtzman's just like the guy who's behind everything. He's their boss that they all turn into.
He runs the motor pool, but he doesn't drive the cars.
Exactly. So all right, let's get on to some of the news that was announced. So San Diego Comic Con, I think, for me personally, had most of the stuff that came out. It was like, which is, I can understand them doing it because that's the bigger venue that people in the overall media look at. But at the same time, you get all these people who go to Star Trek Las Vegas just for this, and right. I felt like they maybe could have saved some of the stuff, and we'll get to that later on, for Star Trek Las Vegas, and then made some of the bigger announcements at San Diego. Like split it in half, don't drop everything all at one venue, especially when 2 weeks later you have that other one.
Exactly. That's like Marvel's strategy with Hall H and D23. Split it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they have it right, and they're actually like a month apart. So this is like
Yeah.
this is even worse because they're only 2 weeks apart. So they know that they didn't have that much that they can get on board. You know.
Right.
All right. So the first piece that we had dropped from San Diego Comic Con, this was we get the there's a new podcast, an official podcast coming out, and it's called Prime Directive, the official Star Trek podcast, and the podcast is hosted by the Lower Decks voice actress Tawny Newsome. So, what do you guys think about this? Star Trek getting into the podcasting business for the first time officially.
I mean, it only makes sense that they would do something like this. We've seen, especially if it's going to be a longer format podcast, those are, really enticing to viewership right now. So it's something that they need to have out there. It's an extension of the shows. It's something where they can, hype themselves up basically and create their own kind of hype train. So it's just a natural progression that I think they needed to do.
Jesse, any thoughts on it?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, if you look at any other franchise or fandom, there's always, whether it's Talking Dead or DC Daily, or, there's always some sort of like conversation going around the show, and that they pull in guests and they have, conversations and they analyze and they break things down and like cool things. So it only serves to like unify everything and pull fans in even more. You give them a little bit of like behind the scenes or what's happening in the writer's room, or you pull on someone from the show and they talk about their experience. Hearing, at least for me speaking personally, hearing those types of things is really cool, and that just like kind of draws me in even more. So for them to do this, like Justin said, it's a natural evolution, and it makes complete sense in this current in day and age of technology to have something like that. So 100% cool.
And within the fandom itself, because we have all the Star Trek stuff coming out. We got the CBS Viacom merger that is close to happening, which could bridge a lot of gaps. We have the Star Trek Picard. We have Star Trek Lower Decks. We have short treks. We have Star Trek Discovery. We have Star Trek Section 31. We have a couple other names that have been leaked out as possible titles, like Star Trek. I think one's called Destiny, and there's another one too that have been they registered for trademarks for them. So like there's a lot of stuff coming out that we have to pay attention to, and this is like a unified spot where if you don't, especially with CBS All Access, because things are being posted, like it's not like a weekly series where on TV, where you got the commercials advertising it all the time. This is something that's online, and people tend to forget that, especially with the smaller CBS All Access compared to like Netflix and Hulu, which is getting a lot more attention. So.
Yeah, and if you're going to put something like behind a paywall, you need to have the content to justify doing that.
Right.
So throwing up something else, additional content. The big draw is Discovery, right? So you need to have things that kind of bolster that and entice people to actually put up that money to watch it. So
for sure.
Yeah.
SM Down joined us. He says, "Sup?" So what's up, SM Down? And he also says, are you talking Trek in general, or specific movie or show you're discussing? We're talking all the San Diego Comic Con and Star Trek Las Vegas news that came out in the last 2 weeks. So, which is primarily the TV shows that are going to be on CBS All Access and Nickelodeon. There's also a cartoon on that. We'll briefly touch on that because it's only been mentioned like very briefly the last 2 weeks. Not much is known about it. But, all right. So let's go on to the next subject, which is the short trek. So now we do know there's going to be 6 official short treks this year. None for Discovery, which is, I find it weird and in a way, because Discovery is the one that did it last year. And was there one the year before? No, last year was the first one, right? Yeah, because it was the second season. So yeah, it was the first time they did it. It was all Star Trek Discovery. And now we have 6. 2 of them are going to be animated ones. I think they're going to be Ask Not and Q&A. Those are the two I think are going to be with it. And then we have 3 that are going to be Pike, number 1, and Spock related from the original Star Trek, this original Enterprise crew. And that's going to be, I think those 3 are going to be The Trouble with Edward, The Girl Who Made the Stars, and Ephraim and Dot. That's what I think those 3 are going to be. Or maybe it's, it could be the opposite where the first 2 I said are going to be, the first 3 are going to be a part of, what's the name, Star Trek, I don't know what do you want to call it, Pike, Star Trek Pike. We'll just say that, that crew. And then the next 2 are going to be it. But I definitely think the last one, Children of Mars, is the Picard one, which is going to be, it will introduce us to the Star Trek Picard. Just because we see the red planet in the trailer, in the poster, there's like that red planet there. A lot of people are thinking it was like Romulus and all that. But I think that's Mars, and maybe some Romulan refugees are living on Mars now. So that could be, or
there's no way we'd let them stay that close to Earth.
I don't know. I think a couple of them are. There's a rumor that a couple of them are living with Picard at Chateau Picard. So,
it's got like a Airbnb, a space B&B.
I don't know. I heard that's some of the rumors I heard about it. But I think, or that could be where the refugee Borgs are at too, because we're going to touch on that too. But there's Borgs on Star Trek Picard. So
yeah.
What do you guys think about the short treks? Like, do you have any idea what you think these places are going to be at? These titles are going to be like. Q&A, I could definitely see being the Spock and number 1 in the elevator. The turbo lift where they're talking to each other. That I can see being that, or I can see that being like one of the cartoon animated ones too. So
yeah, I don't know. For me, the shorts were not my favorite part of this new evolution. They were just, it seemed like when the first season came out, they had these kind of like they needed to entice Netflix to kind of buy into it, right? And that's how they paid for the second one or the first season. And then the second season came out and they weren't buying in, so they made these short treks to kind of like get them to buy the second season. So I always kind of saw it from that, like, okay, it's just kind of like a
previews.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of something to entice people a little bit. And they weren't always like my favorite thing. But it seems like they may be coming into their own as with these announcements. I am excited to see Rebecca Romaine and Ethan Peck in those 2 roles. So I think for me, that's the one that I think will be really cool.
I think those 3 actually. I think what they did with the original Enterprise crew was fantastic last season. I think they really reinvigorated that. That is better Star Trek than the Star Trek J.J. Abrams verse, than the Kelvin verse for me. That was more true Star Trek with those 3 in that show, and like Pike felt like real Star Trek for me. I would love to see, and there's some petitions and all that to get him a new series. So, and it's all up to CBS All Access. So I think if Picard does well, Pike might get a series.
I'd be down for a Pike series.
Me too. Yeah. I'll be right down with that.
Yeah, and some Mounts. He's done a great job with that character.
Yeah, anybody who's really scared of him from Inhumans, he's totally different here. This proves that it was not the actors. Well, I'm just saying, this proves that it was not the actors that was the fault with Inhumans. It was the show. It was the writers.
Yep. The writers. Yep.
Because Anderson Mount
before that, he was on Hell on Wheels, the AMC show. That was good.
I've never seen that one.
It's about the trains. Building the train.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, I would love to see them do that. Take him, like, even if it's, I guess it would kind of have to be prequel-esque from Discovery anyway, just because we know that character is on a timetable,
Or we can always just follow like between this theory where they left off and where Kirk becomes captain of that ship. Like his
Mhm.
mission. We never explored that time period really.
Right.
I think there was novels about it. That was it. Like there was no like show or movie or anything that really explored Pike's journey. So
Yeah. Well, like, what was he doing before the cage?
yeah, like all we ever saw was that one little snippet.
He was the captain of the Discovery.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
We have a question from Essen Down. He says, "Is Tarantino doing a Star Trek movie? I heard something about that. Still up for as a rumor that he's doing one. He confirms that he's still doing it, and from what it sounds like, he's not crazy that it has to be based in the J.J. Abrams verse, because he wants everything to happen in the series to be canon still. So I don't know about that. Like he says, and that was all like online on Twitter and stuff that he was saying that. Like,
Yeah,
he
I don't
wanted,
see it happening.
Everything to be in canon.
It would be just so over the top with blood and F-bombs.
Yeah, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's weird. But then again, he could just like blow your mind and do something like totally in track. Because the way he's saying that he wants everything to happen in the continuity of Kirk's show, that he was really weirded out by the new timeline.
Yeah. Did either of you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
You did?
I have not yet.
Okay, I haven't seen it, and maybe you can verify this or tell me it's wrong. But from what I've heard, it's Tarantino, but it's very un-Tarantino in the way he normally does.
That's what I heard too.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
I heard it's different.
It is way different.
Okay, so perfect. So
it's not like Jackie Brown.
Yeah, so you take that and you say, okay, well, if he's going to do Trek, it doesn't necessarily have to be his normal
it's not
sort of way he does things.
Space.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
But he also said he would only ever make 10 films, and that was number 9.
Would this be his 10th one, or would it be like this is a passion project? You know?
He also said, I have a way around this. When I said 10 films, and again, this is a way he's trying
to
become his own thing. It would have to be his own proproperties. Doing remakes or somebody else's script that doesn't necessarily count
IP
for
that's not
10.
his. Yeah,
right.
If it was an IP that's not his, it doesn't count. So
yeah, because it would be weird for him to do all this and then end on Star Trek. You know.
Estelle says, "How do you like the new streaming service? Is better than Google Preferred was? It's different. It has some pluses and it also has some drawbacks. So that's how I feel. How about you guys?"
Yeah, like anything, you know, pros and cons.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's pretty good so far.
Yeah.
I've watched a few, and then this first time being on one using this software. So
he also says, "Why do you not see it happening? Just because of." There is the merger now between CBS and Viacom, which is really taking effect, which could unite the franchise again and maybe put all the movies back in the prime canon. And it's also the fact that he does not like that his movie is stuck in the Kelvin universe, and he's not a fan of that timeline. He wants everything to happen in Star Trek, the original series, to happen in his movie, and that's going to be an issue if you're following Kelvin timeline, because it totally blows that timeline apart.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think it could be possible either way.
He could fix the timeline somehow. But no, I mean, it would be really cool. I mean, you can just kind of sit here and dream for a second. I mean, think about it. If Quentin Tarantino did actually get signed, if it was officially announced from the movie studio that he was directing, blah 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 blah, the next Star Trek movie. Just think of like the star power he could like easily get to be in a Star Trek film, which would be super cool. But knowing that it would probably just be a one-time thing, do you really want that, or would you prefer somebody that's coming in and they're locked in for like a trilogy worth of directing? You know,
I think they do it only be like we're doing this for maybe they're saying we'll do this for you, but you got to do a movie for Viacom, or Paramount, like. Make that kind of deal. Like, you get to do your passion project, but you have to do something for us too.
Right. Make us some money.
Yeah. Because I think it's going to be a scratch your back, scratch my back type situation. It's not going to be like, oh, yeah, you want to do Star Trek here? Sure, you can take our IP and do whatever you want. Like, I think it's like, we need something back out of this too.
I'd like to see his movie about going to the point where the Kelvin timeline branched off from the main and stopping that from happening.
Yeah.
that could happen. I mean, he
Yeah.
has the clout to do that. You know,
Yeah.
I can see him overriding J.J. Abrams. Can you imagine
And,
yeah.
and there never was a storm in space. There never was a Romulan ship from the future. It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And we're not even sure like how much of the timeline is going to be affected in Picard. So, but before we get to Picard, let's get to Lower Decks. This is the anime series that's been officially announced as CBS All Access. There's a lot of dispute on where it's going to be. Like a lot of people were saying different things. We know one is definitely on Nickelodeon. We don't know anything about that one yet, except for it's going to be geared towards younger children. This one's going to be geared towards teens to adults. So this one's a little bit more mature than that one. It's by Rick and Morty creator. It's going to be on CBS All Access in 2020. So Michael McMahon does it. It takes place in the Prime Canon in the year 2380. So it's taking place a year after Nemesis. And it's going to be very, very canon, he said. He says it's going to be very canon. It's going to be a lot of little jokes and stuff that if you're a Star Trek fan and you watch like Star Trek Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, original series, you'll totally get them. And if you're not, then you'll just be like, oh, that's a funny joke, you know? But if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll get more insight into those jokes. The ship is a California class. It's called the USS Cerritos. The USS Cerritos is a second contact ship, which Jesse will tell you what a second contact ship is when we get to that. Because I like his description of it. It's fun. And then we have the main cast are going to be Ensign Tendi, which is Noel Wells does the voice of. Ensign Rutherford, Eugene Cordero is going to do that voice. Ensign Beckett Mariner, which is Tawny Newsome. We got Ensign Brad Boehmler, that's Jack Quaid. And then we have the bridge crew, who are not the stars of the show, but they think they are. That's the logo. Jesse has.
I'm just showing the logo while you're talking.
Yeah. I'm not sure how you can switch like to make you the big one. I don't know how to do that. There you go. We're all equal. That's
nice.
That's better.
I like the only name in the casting of the main cast here is Jerry O'Connell, and I like that they have him as the first officer, where his wife is always the first officer.
That's
funny.
Really funny. Here's something about him. His name is Jack Ransom. Think he's gonna be any related to Captain Ransom from Voyager? Because they said Prime Canon. This is in canon. You already had a Captain Ransom in Star Trek Voyager, so there you go. That's the bridge crew.
There we go.
Who thinks they're the stars of the show, but they're not. Do you think he's going to have some kind of relationship to him, or like maybe like that could be a joke that they were talking about, like him always saying not any, not related to the other Ransom, or no relation to that guy, like maybe that would be one of those ongoing Trek jokes that they were saying they're going to do. What do you guys think about the crew? And Jesse, I'll start with you because I want you to also explain what a second contact ship is.
Okay. So Ransom is not exactly a common last name. They obviously picked that for a reason,
Yeah.
So it's gonna be commented on whether he's actually, related or, like you said, an ongoing gag. But they definitely picked that, for this reason. I mean, how many people do you know with that last name? Honestly, it's like they had to have.
There has to be, especially with him saying he's such a fan of this era of Star Trek. The Next Generation to Voyager era. He's such a fan of that era that he wanted to place it right after it, so it could be in continuity. There has to be a reason why you picked that name.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a first contact is when you go to a planet and you make first contact. You've never contacted that species, so they're going to have that. That's what they've always had. This ship the Cerritos specializes in second contact. So what they do is they go to the planet afterwards, and they go and they find the good places to eat. They find all the nice hotels, all the good people to talk to, and it's the what did I say it was? It's like the Yelp of
The invasion force.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's the Yelp of Starfleet. They go and they find all the good stuff, and they like, hey, after first contact has already been made, and that's their specialty as a ship.
All right.
Not explorers.
No.
We boldly go where people have been before.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're gonna be a little bit different. They might look a little bit like people we know. They might wear the same type of uniforms, but they're a different crew. This is a different crew. Jesse, what do you think about the show? What you've heard about it, the crew, and everything like that?
I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be funny. I definitely like Family Guy and shows like that. So it sounds like it'll be kind of have those types of gags with it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to check it out. It sounds like it'll be fun, if nothing else. I'm sure I'll get a few laughs out of it.
Yeah. How about you, Justin?
Oh,
what, Jesse?
did you say this? It takes place right after Nemesis?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2380.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I think it's going to be entertaining and fun, but I don't know. It's an animated show, so we'll just kind of see what they're really going to do with it. But I mean, it's like I said, they're playing heavily off Prime canon, so they're wanting to pull in the Star Trek fans that have sat there and burned through all this stuff. So I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Apparently the holodeck breaks down all the time, so that should be a nice running gag.
When doesn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, the holodeck and replicators. I mean, there's something and transporters. Like none of the big technology stuff ever works in Star Trek. There's always a problem with the replicators, always a problem with the holodeck. There's always a problem with the transporters. I mean, and warp. Like there's nothing working in Star Trek all the time. Like I've never seen one show where they've had a perfect cruise. Like,
I was watching the other day. I think it might have been 2 days ago. I was watching The Search for Spock. Right at the beginning, when they come out of the space dock, and the captain of the other ship's like, "I hope they're not going to use warp and try to get away from us." And they do. And then on his ship, he's like, "Okay, engage the warp," and then it like sputters and stalls out, and it sounds like an old like engine breaking down.
Yeah, and why did he have like a riding crop? He had like, I didn't understand that. I mean, like that was just weird.
Yeah,
it's Star Trek.
And then they never. Acceptable. Yeah, no. All right, we could do a whole show just talking about trans warp drive. Never mind. I'm gonna let it go.
Let's see. SM Down says, I think they're saying that so the Academy would give him Best Director's Oscar.
He was still talking about the Quentin Tarantino stuff.
Yeah. I saw Hobbs and Shaw. It's awesome. And then Tevye joins us. Hey, Tevye, and he says hi. So.
Hey, Tev.
All right, let's go on to the next one. We have Star Trek Discovery Season 3. So now, these are the things we know about Star Trek Discovery Season 3, which is very little they gave us, honestly.
Yeah.
It takes place in 999 years in the future. They did not land on the planet Terracium, which is where Michael Burnham's mother always goes back to, that place where it was in Season 2 where that church was in their timeline. So that's the planet that they're supposed to go back to, but it didn't. They screwed up.
Which is about normal.
Yeah, we have David Ajala. He's going to be playing Cleveland Booker, and he's described as a breaking the rules a little bit, and we do break the rules at the start of the season. Book is also said to be someone you don't initially expect. And they wouldn't say who's going to be the captain of the ship, but says you will find out in Season 3. So,
yeah.
First of all, who do you guys think is going to be the captain of the ship?
Wait. Going back to the short trek from last year where the ship was 1,000 years in the future. Wait, the ship didn't say it was 1,000 years in the future. The ship said it had been waiting 1,000 years.
Yeah, so it could have been 2,000 years in the future.
Yeah, all right. So
Right.
good. All right.
So
Everybody remember that.
1,000 years.
Remember that.
Mm.
So it doesn't mean that in this that they actually get Discovery back, or they end the show having Discovery because of that.
But we know that Michelle Yeoh is there, and she has to come back for Section 31. So there's the paradox. Like
Sure.
I think they should have just kept her in the prime in regular timeline in the past.
Right, she should have got out of the ship before.
Yeah, either that or maybe she's not going to be in Section 31 or something. I don't know. At least she's coming back to the prime regular to the past. She's going back to the past. But I want to say Saru will be captain because he should be captain. He's the senior officer.
He's earned it, if nothing else.
He's earned that. Yeah. But did you see the display at San Diego Comic-Con where they had the captains of the Star Trek, like the main people of the show? Everyone on there was a captain of their show, and then they had Michael Burnham. So Michael Burnham is not a captain. She's the lead character of the show, but she's not a captain. And Star Trek's never been about the leads because the captains are never the leads of the show. There's always an ensemble cast, you know? So
it'd be crazy to go from like court-martialed and stripped of your rank to captain. That's quite the arc.
Only for her. They bend the rules for Michael Burnham. Don't you know that by now?
They do.
I mean, she got out early. She started a war with the Klingons. She mutinied her captain, and then she comes back and serves on a highly classified ship. Why would you give her that information to begin with?
Wait, and all of this, the only reason she's out of prison, right, is because an alternate universe evil version of the original captain of Discovery requested her, right?
Yes.
So now knowing that, shouldn't that be rescinded and she just go back to jail?
Oh, well, they didn't just rescind that. They didn't just like get her out on parole for that or work release, whatever you want to call that. They actually reinstated her as Starfleet. She's reinstated.
Yeah, but it's all based on a lie.
Exactly.
All based on a lie. So we're going to need to fix the timeline by putting her back in jail.
But it's interesting that I thought that was interesting just because they're talking about you're going to find out who the captain is. I think it could be her only because of that.
I'm the captain now.
Tilly should be the captain.
Tilly's going to be captain one day. A lot longer than she thought it would take her to make captain.
She'll be a captain of a shuttlecraft.
I don't think she was thinking like over 1,000 years in the future she'll make captain. I think she was thinking like maybe 15, 20 years. But hey, she made from cadet to ensign faster than what's his name? Tim went from ensign to lieutenant. So I mean,
but she's no Wesley Crusher. Oh.
That was
a Mary Sue if there ever was one.
Wesley Crusher was fixed in his storyline was actually fixed in what was it? Star Trek The Q Conflict. They fixed his story to why he was in Star Trek. What was that? Star Trek First Contact? No, not First Contact. But it was Insurrection. Star Trek Insurrection. Why he was in the wedding in that movie. Oh no, the movie. It was
also at Tony Stark's funeral.
He was.
No, he wasn't.
He was. He just didn't know it.
Yeah, we always thought it was his white hair. Or was that Steve Rogers?
He was the Skrull too.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, kind of getting back to this whole time jump thing, I think that it's a great solution. We've been talking since basically the first season, the first couple episodes. How are they going to solve the technological discrepancy? You have this like super advanced spore drive but then it's going to butt up against like, I mean, it's advanced, but old tech, like the original series type of technology.
Yeah,
It doesn't line up.
physics,
So
I
what are they
think,
going to do? And like the idea was, okay, maybe Section 31 kind of like hid it away or whatever. But I think having them jump from their time period to the very end of the timeline, right, as far as you can possibly go, basically, is a pretty cool solution to that. And with that time jump goes that technology, and that would completely explain. We know what's going to happen there, but that would completely explain why
no one's ever
throughout
heard of
the
it.
original series, throughout the animated series, throughout Next Gen, and all that, we didn't ever hear about the spore drive because it jumped way to the future. So I think it's
No, you
creative.
can't do that. It's dangerous. We just all saw them do today. We can't talk about it ever again.
Yeah,
It's classified.
the first rule of spore drives is we don't talk about spore drives.
But the only thing is, they still didn't adjust all the other technology, like how everybody had the holographic communication in this period. When in DS9 they were just experimenting with it. Remember, Miles was like Jerry rigging the little platform for it. Remember?
Oh, you when he was fighting the Maquis dude that he wanted to kill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was just being touched on in Deep Space Nine. So
yeah,
there's things that I think Discovery just went off the road, but it was still a good. It's still a good series. I still like the storyline. It's still better than
Eddington. That was his name.
For me.
Commander Eddington.
Right. Eddington, yes. Any other thoughts on season 3?
No,
yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't really know that.
like you said, we didn't get a whole lot on that. That wasn't really the focus. I think the focus is maybe something we're going to talk about here soon.
Yeah.
Super.
They did say that they are filming, and some of the show is being filmed in Iceland. So they were all on vacation. Well, they were all supposed to be on vacation there. Now it's revealed that they were actually filming there, which was pretty cool. Nice scenery there. All right, let's go on to the big topic, which was Star Trek Picard. Okay, I want to run down some things that we know from it. Picard's dog, the one that got all the buzz on the poster. His name is number 1, which I joked about when Jesse was like, or Justin was like, "What's the dog's name?" I was like, "Number 1." Yeah. And that I was totally kidding. They actually named the dog number 1, but it's funny. We also know that returning Star Trek alum, and not just Star Trek Next Generation, but from all Star Trek, confirmed are Brent Spiner is going to be playing Data, but the body that's in the drawer is B4. So that Brent Spiner confirmed that in an interview. He said the body you see is B4, but I'm playing Data. So he did confirm that. Jonathan Frakes is playing Riker. Renee Sirtis is returning as Troy. And they said something. Jonathan Frakes said something at Star Trek Las Vegas about when you see them, it's not in a military setting or something like that. So maybe they're serving on different ships, or maybe they're both retired from Starfleet 2. We don't know. He said something about not being in uniform or something like that. It's not a uniform setting.
So him and Troy are like on Risa when they meet up.
Perhaps on their third honeymoon.
Because I mean,
20 years, they could have a third honeymoon or a second honeymoon, or 20th anniversary honeymoon.
Yeah, they're renewing their vows.
Well, here would be my question. The last episode of The Next Generation, does this Picard series take place before or after that?
It takes place after that, because like the timeline. I'll read off the timeline in a moment. We also have two former Borg. We have Jerry Ryan, who's 7 of 9, and Jonathan Del Arco, who played Hugh, the very first Borg to be de-assimilated, other than Picard, because we don't count him. He was only assimilated for like 5 seconds.
Yay, Jerry Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love her. I mean, she's a little bit different. We'll talk about that when we get to the trailer and all that, but she's a little bit different in this than the last time we saw her, and there's a reason for that. There's going to be a 3-issue comic prequel from IDW miniseries. It's going to be called Star Trek Picard Countdown. That comes out in November, so it'll be November, December, January. And then there's a novel that's called The Mission That Changed. The mission. Oh, I'm sorry. This is about the mini is going to be about the mission that changed Picard's life. So whatever happened that changed his life, that made him quit Starfleet, that is what that countdown is about. Which they really need to stop using countdown. Like they did that for the movie prequel, and then there's also going to be a. I did not put that in here. Oh yeah, Star Trek Picard: The Last Best Hope, which is the novel, which is coming out in February 2020. And it's going to be talking about all the new characters in Picard. We also know that Issa Briones, I think that's how you say her name, is going to be playing Daj. She's the mysterious woman that really ignites this whole big story that brings Picard back into the story. And then we have the Picard timeline. Now, this is official from the Picard First Duty station, which they had at both of them. So Picard in 2381, Picard will leave the USS Enterprise E for a special assignment. In 2383, I'm sorry, I put 43 as 83. No one was assimilated at this Borg facility that we've seen, that big Borg thing, since that date, so 2383. 2384, Picard leads the Rescue Armada. Now that was said based on it was being set in 2399, and it's they said 15 years prior is when he led the Armada. So 2386, Picard leads Starfleet for yet to be revealed reasons. 2387 is the destruction of Romulus in the movie. So if that timeline holds up, that could be a part of it. 2395, Justin, was when the alternate future of all good things happened. And then 2399 is where Star Trek Picard actually takes place. And there's also another thing about Star Trek Picard. What was it? They were talking, the creators of Star Trek Picard, the writers and all that, talked at length with Star Trek Online for what they're doing with their timeline. So we could see some things from Star Trek Online being reflected in there, but it's not being held up totally. And then we had the Star Trek Picard trailer. So anything you guys want to add to any of that, and what do you guys think about this stuff?
I think it's going to be awesome. That's pretty much what it comes down to. I think it's going to be awesome. I like that they specifically said that it takes place 4 years after the last iteration that we really ever saw Picard in. It's also good that he shaved because he didn't look good with the big beard.
And he apparently doesn't have Irumodic syndrome. So
good. Well, yeah, but that was kind of alluded to with Q. Q wasn't gonna let Picard die.
No.
You know. So that was kind of there. But I overall, like, this is the biggest Star Trek thing that's going on. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Discovery Fine, Lower Decks, all that stuff. This is Patrick Stewart coming back to play the captain that we all know and
Sir
love.
Patrick Stewart. How dare you, sir?
We're not in England. Jerry Ryan alone. Come on. Now,
Sir Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, right? Did you really ever think that we were going to get to see 7 of 9 again? I didn't.
No, I didn't
no.
think we would see anybody outside of like the Next Generation. Like I wasn't expecting any of them. Like I wasn't expecting to see anything outside of Next Gen.
Yeah. And I mean, just from what they're saying and everything that's going on, even with the timeline here, there's got to be a massive Borg influence going on.
Yeah.
You know, there's something going on with the Borg.
I'm waiting for Quark to show up.
Ooh.
LeVar Burton says something about he thinks that they're going to be all staggered throughout it. Like, so hinting that he could be in there too. He was like, if there's any, this was before they announced the cast. He's like, if there is any, he said, I don't think they would be recording all at the same time. So it'd be like staggered throughout the series. And they asked him and Michael Dorn at Star Trek Las Vegas, will you be appearing in it? And they basically did that cheeky, like, wait and see type thing. So, yeah. So I think there might be other guest stars in this season, but they didn't want to reveal everybody who's starring in it. Which I think they should have done that even with the reveals. Like, like Riker and Troy weren't at Star Trek at San Diego Comic-Con, right? Because Riker had to be somewhere and she had to be somewhere. Jonathan Frakes and Marie and Sirtis, they both had other engagements, so they couldn't be at Star Trek San Diego Comic-Con. So
right. But I know like Michael Dorn at least was at Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all at Vegas.
Yeah.
The Forge, Data, Picard,
but see, like
Ryan.
the biggest unannounced guest star, we'll say it that way because maybe still we'll get this, was Gates McFadden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who really wanted Dr. Crusher.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge their relationship somewhere. Like you can't do a Picard series and not acknowledge the one who got away. Maybe like did they ever wind up together? Like that was like something that's always been flirted back and forth with them in the series. Like will they, won't they? They were like the Maddie and Mike of Star Trek.
Will they, won't they?
Will they, won't they? I mean, even more than I think everybody knew that Riker and Troy would eventually get together, but it was like you never knew about Picard and Crusher. It was always that will they, won't they?
Yeah.
And I mean, just think about this series. Like, we don't know where it's going to go, how far it can go. But I mean, you could realistically, we joked about it.
You're saying at least 3 years.
But I'm just saying, like, this could realistically, like, we could get a glimpse of what Wesley's been doing, Mr.
Yeah.
He's a traveler now or whatever. So there's
knowing
so
him,
many.
he's an admiral.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, he became like that traveler guy.
Yeah.
But like, just because we haven't seen anything this far out,
they made him lose it. Star Trek Q conflict, he gave it up. That's why he was at the wedding, because he's back in Starfleet. Wesley gave up the powers of the traveler in the comic.
Oh, in the comic. Oh,
that's how they explained why he was the Starfleet again when he was at the wedding. Remember, he was in Starfleet uniform in Nemesis in the wedding.
Nope.
You blocked out Wesley's uncameo because it was only in the deleted scenes. Like he made a cameo in there. He was at the wedding.
Yep. Nope. First I'm ever hearing of it.
You blocked that out. It was too traumatic for you.
Yes. But you can't go back and rewrite like giving somebody superhuman powers. Come on.
What do you guys think about that board ship thing with Romulan writing all over it?
Maybe that's his ship that he's captaining now. A lot could have happened in the past couple of years.
It will be interesting to see because, like they said, it was said there was no one was simulated since 2383. Like that's how many days it would add up to. So it was like 16 years ago was the last time someone was assimilated.
Yeah.
So
assimilated where? Just in that facility?
In that facility, yeah.
Oh, okay, because I'm like, we didn't wipe out all the board.
No.
Like we haven't gone to the Delta Quadrant and wiped out.
Yeah. There was only one cube. Probably a whole fleet of them.
Jerry Ryan says something to the effect of Borg in this timeline, in this story, are like seen. It's like a racist type thing. Like they don't want Borg to be there. Like no one wants the Borg there. So
yeah, nobody would.
Exactly. But, so she like tries. That's why she talks different in the trailer.
Yeah,
because she's trying to be as human as possible. Because the more she can assimilate into humanity, the less she is hated on by humanity.
Yeah, I remember they did that like weird episode with her where she was like traveling through time. But like there was a future version of herself that was like had already been back and was working with Starfleet and like wore her hair differently and stuff like that. And so I think they can do a lot with that character. So
yeah.
I wonder how much they're going to keep with because again they said that they talked with Star Trek Online people and it was like the whole Borg virus thing. I think like there was a whole bunch of stuff that went on. Like there was a whole bunch of things with Borgs. There was also a thing with Data being named
is she married to Chakotay?
I don't think so. I think that like they broke up like right after she got back. I know they broke up in the novels.
Maybe they're on again off again. They could be together now.
How disappointing! That was like Janeway's whole reason for going back was to save 7 of 9.
Well, she's still alive.
Yeah, but
her good friend
Tuvok. She went right.
Tupac, he died too.
Tuvix.
No, he
she
just
killed
went
him.
crazy.
Oh, Tuvok. It's a Tupac.
Yeah, but Tuvix she killed. So
yeah, Tuvix, she was just like, screw you.
Yeah.
I order your death.
To you.
Yeah.
That was the coldest Janeway ever was in that episode.
But it's completely fine because that character was annoying.
Janeway?
Well, Tuvix.
Oh. Because I actually like Janeway. I thought she was a great
I like
captain.
Janeway too.
Yeah.
I like, super nerdy. Have y'all seen the pilot for Voyager with the French lady as the captain?
Yeah, she was definitely not going to make it.
Ooh, that was.
They would have killed her off. Like in the first season, she would have been killed off, and Chakotay would have became captain. Then you might have had some actual development in the series, like some long-term like growth.
Man, that would have been cool.
Chakotay was just a different. Like he was that character that got ignored. You know, like most of the series, he was just like the second officer. That was it.
It would have just been like the second season, like say Janeway died and he took over at the end of the first season. Second season would just be like Star Trek Renegades.
You definitely know that you know, if that Janeway would have stayed, what was her name? I know it was French. I can't think of it. Yeah. It was a French name. But she was like, she definitely would not have made it. It was weird. They gave a British actor a French name, and then they gave a Canadian French actress an American name. Like they could have gave her a French something, something French.
No, they have to show that nationality doesn't mean anything anymore, and people just live places, man.
All right, so like I said, it's true. Like they just show like there's no limits in Star Trek, but they just don't know what they're doing. They actually did. Picard, Sir Patrick Stewart gave a little snippet of his first couple episodes. The first couple like scenes that he did, like where he said he actually read everything in like a French accent, and he said it was so horrible. He was like, I don't know why they asked me to do that, but he originally was going to go at it with a French accent. He was like, "These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise." And he was like, it was so bad.
Genevieve Bujold.
Right? Yeah, Jacques Cousteau. And,
but any thoughts on? Let me hear you guys full thoughts on this. Like again, they could have saved. I think they could have saved Jonathan Frakes and Maria Sirtis for Star Trek Lost Vegas. Bring them out and be like, these two are also going to be on the show. I think that would have been like more of a than them not being at San Diego Comic-Con. They would have got that bigger reaction from Star Trek Lost Vegas for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want them to have everybody from the Next Generation on the show.
I think they will. I think they are. Oh, and Brett Spiner also said Data's not going to be in every episode, but he's going to be throughout the theme of it. Like
he'll be popping in and out periodically.
Yeah. So what do you think? All right, this is a question I wanted to ask you guys because you were Star Trek fans. I'm sure you heard the rumors about it or the theories about it. Is that Data? Is that a hologram? Is that something else? Like, who is Captain Picard sitting across from? Is that actually Data, like in android form, or him? We know that that's Data, but it's going to be him in android form, or him in hologram form, or what?
I'm gonna say it's actually him.
I'm going with you too.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the B4 body?
That's what he was before.
Yeah.
So okay,
that's going to be in the B4 body, but we're talking about like, is that actually the body, like with Data's memories in it, or is it going to be like a hologram? Because a lot of people think it's going to be a hologram, where Picard's just sitting on a holodeck and talking with Data, like, as a program, that he takes around with him.
Yeah, I mean, just if I remember correctly, I'm just going off the top of my head. It's a prototype android constructed by Dr. Noonien on Omicron Theta, and I believe the year was 2330. I'm just kidding. I'm reading. Yeah. That's what the B4
was,
prototype
and if they have a body, it should be really, really easy to just download Data into the new body.
Well, the last time we saw him again in Nemesis, he was whistling a song that Data was singing at the wedding.
Right.
So,
but that was showing that he was progressing on the same path. That it was the same being because he was making those same progressions.
I think Data was using his matrix to overlay onto B4. So the theory was that Data's memories were inside of B4, but they were trapped inside of her. Like there was all there because they were using his.
It seems like there should be a clean backup that they could just download from the last time that he uploaded.
I mean, wasn't everything loaded onto
like a floppy disk, just slide it in there and just hit,
I mean,
here, there was a whole episode where they're like, "Here, have some emotions." Click.
Right, but wouldn't you think that would be like almost an order that Data would have to like upload or back up every so often? Because he's kind of
just for maintenance, just for like regular maintenance.
So it should be relatively easy. If you've already got one,
he has to like clear his cache.
But he's also a prototype, so he may not be as sophisticated as Data. So he may not be able to handle Data's stuff. So that's why
we killed Lore a long time ago, so we don't have Lore.
Last time we saw Lore was it that he was in space floating? No, because then that's when the Borg found him. I think it was on Hugh's planet last time we saw Lore, right?
Yeah.
So they said that but Brent Spiner said that's B4's body. So my theory is this, and let me know if you guys think it's a good theory or not. B4 couldn't handle Data's brainwave or whatever you want to say, his matrix, and he started to deteriorate. So they just they dissected him. They disassembled him, put him away in storage until they could fix him. And one of the people on Picard's crew is going to be like a super genius creator android person. Like they're going to be like studying Dr. Noonien's whole philosophy or whatever. And she's going to start putting together Data. And I think what you're going to see where Data is standing there is like Data is starting to be uploaded into B4's body. So like you're seeing like him being in the process of becoming Data. He's not Data yet, but he's in the process of going to Data.
Yeah,
so it's like
and
this
like
early
half built as like
like you'll see like a panel open up in the back, a wire sticking out. Maybe his arm is not all the way on, like something like that. It would be they're in the process of working on. That's why he's just standing there like this. He's just sitting very still.
Yeah.
And that's just my working theory on it. I don't think it's a hologram, though.
I don't know, but okay, let's say this. If it is a hologram or something like that, then that lends itself a little bit easier to him not being in each episode. But since we know that Picard is traveling around, he's not taking the body with him, but he can still interact with the AI part,
I just picture him carting around a torso with him.
Right. Come on, Data.
He's just got the head in a jar.
Yeah.
It's in my basket.
Any other thoughts on Star Trek Picard?
It sounds okay.
Right.
No, I think it sounds amazing. Like we know a lot, but at the same time, we don't know anything at this point. And like
it's weird.
They put so much
weird paradox.
Yeah, exactly. And like they've brought all these amazing people back to be part of the cast. You've heard them up on stage, kind of like pouring their heart and soul about how it's amazing to be back, and working with Sir Patrick Stewart again, and all this, and just the idea that where we are right now, there's just so much potential, and like we're doing this with, the theories. Like there's so many places it could go, and as a fan, knowing that it could go all these places with all of these characters that I kind of like grew up with and love, like that's amazing, and I'm really pretty excited for this show.
Me too.
Yeah.
How about you, Justin? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, same. What we've been saying. I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it to come out. I don't want to wait. So hurry.
I know, and we don't even know when it's actually coming out. We know it's sometime early 2020. I'm thinking around February-ish, February, March, because that novel is supposed to lead up to it. So that novel's coming out in February. So I'm thinking February/March, sometime there.
Yeah, but we do get the short, which is kind of like a zero episode, you could say.
Yeah. So whenever we find out when that is, it'll probably be like a week or a couple weeks after that. Like, that's when we're going to get the card.
Yeah.
But
do they release it week over week, or do they dump it so we can binge it?
Well, they're going to do week after week. They want people to,
it'll be a week.
They want people to.
You gotta pay.
Yeah, they want people to stay there for a couple months.
Yeah.
My question though is, do you think it's going to run concurrently with like the second part of Discovery Season 3? Or are they going to wait till that's over before they kick it?
I think since they're just recording, they're just started to filming Discovery Season 3 now. I think Star Trek Discovery is going to air probably, this will run for 10 episodes, which will be 2.5 months. So let's say April, May, that would end like sometime in May. And then Star Trek Discovery may be a summer series, like June to whenever. And then we'll probably get the animated series, or the animated series and then Discovery, something like that.
Hey,
they're trying to make it so we got all year.
Well, but the good thing about the animated series is where it is in the timeline is it's not dependent upon either of those other two shows. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So they can.
But it can reveal stuff about Picard. It could reveal.
Yeah, it could.
Picard.
Yeah, there could be little Easter eggs and stuff that they will reference in Picard. Yeah.
Picard is still captain of the Enterprise in that timeline because he doesn't leave the Enterprise to 2381, and he's in the. This is 2380, so he should be still the captain of the Enterprise in that time, in their time period. And then all right, so we got Section 31. We know that it's not going to be anything done with that for a year to a year and a half. A year and a half to 2 years. That's for the guy who plays Vox said, Sharif, I forget his name. He said that they're still working on it, but there will be nothing for at least a year and a half to 2 years. So, which will probably be when Discovery is over, and we get Captain Giorgio back. The Nickelodeon animated series, again, all we know is that it's made for a younger audience. And we also know that they licensed out the name. They put it for trademarks for Star Trek Section 31 and Star Trek Destiny. So a lot of people thinking Destiny is the name for Pike's show. They want to do that. Which could be, why they're doing 3 short treks as a test. Are people interested in that?
Test the market, see how people react.
I want to say real fast about Star Trek Picard. Who or what do you think Dahj is?
What?
Who or what is Dahj? That girl in the trailer, the one who Picard says, if she is who I think she is, it could mean great things or big things for everything. So it's a girl that is like the main focus of that trailer. Who do you think she is?
She's bored.
She might be that first offspring of like a bored hybrid, where she's not. She has all the qualities of a Borg, but none of the
Basically, she's just got like, her blood is just filled with nanites.
That's what I was thinking. I think it could be like that. She looks like a human, but she's totally bored inside. So outside she's human. This way she could pass off as a human going everywhere. She can assimilate people without anybody saying, "Oh no, there's a Borg coming at me." She looks like human.
Right.
She could be a Borg queen. Even.
Well, but that also lends itself to like the action sequence where we see her like picking up somebody and throwing them. like
Yeah.
way further than you are able to actually throw people. So she's got increased, strength and things like that, which I think that would all lend itself to the Nanites. Unless she is a hybrid of like Romulan Borg.
Well, they are Romulans are experimenting on the boards in that
Well, of
in
course they
that
are.
little scene. We saw them like they had Borg on the slab. So
Yeah.
Wouldn't be. I would expect nothing less from the Romulans.
okay, so what do you guys think about Justin? I'm Jesse. Any thoughts on Dodge?
Curious. I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about her. She like, why is she specifically asking Picard for help? Is my question.
Why is Dodge?
Yeah.
That's that next what site does that? They it's like a YouTube thing. They do YouTube videos on it where they have the star reveal like answer Google questions. They're like, why is like Jennifer Gardner this? What is Jennifer Gardner's real name? Like, and they reveal the questions and they answer them. I forget which channel does that, but they do that. They have like stars coming in and answering those questions from Google searches. But all right. So any final thoughts, theories, or predictions, expectations that you got for anything that's coming out in Star Trek?
I don't know. It's like a weird place to be in right now where we know kind of what we know, but we don't know a lot. So it's hard to like make predictions without knowing a little bit, even just a little bit more about some of these plots would give us a lot of like kind of direction, But I think what we do know at this point is really cool. Some of the creative choices they made, like the 1,000-year time jump, or like I said, with the cast coming back, that's awesome. Or doing like a funny show focused on not the deck or not the bridge crew, cool different takes and angles and stuff, and it's cool.
Yeah, thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
How about you, Justin?
I mean, pretty much the same way. Like, we know that things are coming. We've gotten like little slivers of a taste of a few things. But yeah, we're just kind of in this like holding period, but it's a holding period with a whole bunch of excitement built into it,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think, it's just that excitement that's building up that I want February to be here right now. So this way, at least by then, we'll at least know when it's coming out. Maybe New York Comic Con, we'll find out when it's actually being released. Maybe by then we'll have a date. But a fast theory I have is that, again, goes back to my idea that the Star Trek, the Children of Mars is the Borg people, is that Picard leads the Rescue Armada. I think that's Borg related, and I think he leaves because of all the people who are doing things to Borg. Like maybe Starfleet okayed the Romulan Borg cube little facility, and you're like, why are you letting them have that? There's a reason why they made up that thing where it's Picard's first duty, and they had that big speech that he made to Wesley about the first duty of all Starfleet personnel. So I think it's the truth. So I think like it's something about that. That's why he left Starfleet. So that's my big theory on it, and of course the data theory. But I can't wait to see it.
I just don't want them to change the nature of the Borg.
I don't think they're changing the nature of the Borg. I just think because throughout the series, since the Borg came into it, between Star Trek, Next Generation, Star Trek Voyager, there were so many Borg that were reassimilated into human or Vulcan or whatever they were, that I think they're just finally doing something with that. Because remember, Q had that whole colony on that planet. Remember that whole colony where Data, Laura led Data there. There was a whole colony of people that Q was taking care of.
Yeah, and the same thing with Discovery. They had that whole, not Discovery, Voyager, where they found that whole planet where it'd been drones, that their ship was destroyed or damaged or whatever. So they just all said the heck with it and lived on this planet, and then regained their humanity through that. So I could see that, but I don't want them to. Like, I understand what you're saying, and I'm fine with that. Like, we're gonna have a lot of these people that are trying to find maybe themselves again, or what
Yeah,
what
just
their
don't
lives used
neuter
to
the
be.
board, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Still
I
have
don't want that either.
the board still needs to be this just thing
Big
out there
threat.
that just
Yeah.
wants to destroy everything. You know,
Oh, yeah.
consume.
I agree with that totally. I don't want them to like timid. I don't want the boards to be on a leash at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about that, I will be honest, because of what they did with the Klingons
Yeah.
on Discovery.
I think the
You
Klingons are
know,
going to be a little bit more bloodthirsty when this comes back. I don't think they're going to be in that treaty anymore. The treaty, I think they're going to. That's going to be broken. I think they're going to be a little bit because when Star Trek Online, they took over Romulan space, so I think they took back Kittimer. So I think that's going to be part of it. All right. So any other thoughts, or are you guys ready to wrap up?
I think we've pretty much touched on everything. I feel like we have, and you know, I'm sure as more news comes out and things like that, we'll definitely jump back on and do another show at some point. So
yeah, if there's anything like big that comes out, we can do another one of these. But I think we got a lot of the big news out of the way. And Justin, let us know what's coming up for you and where can people find you at.
you can always find me over at Exile State Comics. Hall's coming out. I'm also going to be trying out some Magic the Arena or Magic the Gathering the Arena like gameplay. So I'm going to try that out, stream some of that, and see how that kind of goes on the channel. Of course, you know, articles always up over at comicbooked.com. And you know, normal fun stuff. Of course, I'll let Jesse tell you about what we do on Thursday nights.
All right. And with that, I'm Jesse.
Nice transition. So every Thursday night we do a live show. You know, we used to do it on Tuesdays right before Comic Frontline. We ended up moving it to Thursdays, just scheduling and everything. But it's a great show, weekly show about, you know, comic books, all the stuff that we've read, not necessarily the upcoming stuff unless we're looking at previews, but we do a lot of you know, film and TV news related to this whole you know, comic, superheroes, sci-fi, you know, sword and sorcery, like anything, you know, that's cool to us, we're going to talk about. And if it's cool to us and you're watching this, it's probably cool to you too. So definitely check us out on Thursday nights, 8:30-ish, probably more like 8:35 when we get going. But that's Eastern Standard Time, by the way. So that's always a fun time. So hope to see you there.
All right, and for me, you can find me right here on Comic Book Theater, and every Tuesday night at 10 o'clock p.m. ish. We do Eastern time. We do Frontline Live on Comic Frontline, and this week we got our big 5,000 subscriber thing where we're doing some trivia. We're doing 2 different kinds of trivia, so it's going to be a unique spin on our trivia where you guys get to find out we get to find out how well everybody else knows us. So. That's going to be part of the trivia. Then we're going to have a regular tradition trivia that we always do. So check that out. And do weekly Power Ranger Beast Walkers reviews up here. Power Ranger, Young Justice Outsiders reviews on here weekly. A whole bunch of other stuff. I'm going to be doing more on my channel as it comes out. So that's it for now. So thank you for joining us. And
Live long and prosper.
We all did it. We're cool.
Yeah, we all did it. Oh, we're still live.
Yeah, we are.
Thumb bent or thumb out?